Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Mark and Smart Connection podcast. I am your host, Jesse Disbro. With me this week is the Mark, some guy named Matt Cooper.
Hello, everybody.
He says hello. What do you guys say? Do you say hello back, or do you say that asshole when he comes on?
I'm certain they say hello back, aside from one particular viewer I know we have. He might be all like, dead asshole. But as long as he's clicking, then I'm not caring.
I also love how we have viewers for our podcast.
Yeah. I know we have at least one.
Yeah, I know. So. They watch our podcast religiously.
Yes, and it's not. I promise you, it's
their
not
eyes are glued to the screens every week.
Yeah, okay, glued to that logo we have. Of
right, that was the whole flipping point that I was trying to make. Is that we're
that I said the word viewer?
Yes,
and I should say listener.
You can find our stuff on YouTube, where there's a cooler graphic than normal. You can also find our stuff on a bunch of different other things, which we will get to at the end. Mostly Podbean, so markandsmark.podbean.com and facebook.com/markandsmark. You can find all of that info right on there. But you know what you can find right now, immediately in this moment? A steaming hot pile of podcast, which will include the marking out segment, where Matt marks out about something, a little bit of Smark's Remarks, where I walk you through what happened this week. We have some big meaty topics in the middle, and then we close it on out with our hot take, and a finisher. So, Matthias, why don't you run us out and see what you were marking out about this week?
Okay, so for those listening for the first time, the marking out segment is where I choose one thing that happened during the week of wrestling, and I mark out about it. So this week, I'm going to mark out about something that I believe happened at AEW Dynamite on Wednesday, which was their Bash at the Beach thing. Diamond Dallas Page came out, took off his shirt, and gave somebody a diamond cutter, which I was a big DDP mark back in the day. So when I saw that happening, I was like, yay!
I mean, he was literally wrestling a match. Like, it wasn't even just like showing up. He was part of a 6-man tag match.
Well, not bad, especially for what DDP is like 60-something years old, right?
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, he's got the DDP yoga, so
yeah,
he can do whatever he wants.
Eat right and exercise, take care of yourself, have good genetics, hopefully, and you can still be wrestling in your 60s.
And especially, and that's great for DDP because he started when he was like 30-something.
Yeah. So he still doesn't have as many highway miles as some of the wrestlers his age might.
Dustin Rhodes, who he tagged with in that match.
Was this an old guys versus a new guys match or what?
Kind of. Their tag team partner was QT Marshall, who is a long tenured indie wrestler. And this is kind of his. He finally got kind of the break now, and they were wrestling against top heel in the AEW MJF, as well as the Butcher, the Blade, and with the Bunny.
The Butcher, the Blade with the Bunny. That sounds like a nursery rhyme.
Well, the Butcher, the Blade, and the Bunny is the name of the group. But
that's a
the Bunny
cool name,
was not wrestling. Yeah. It's an interesting looking stable, and I'm on board with that stable.
So who won? Was it the old guys or the Butcher, the Baker?
No,
and the
old guys. The old guys put the top heel and the other gimmicks over. So
as is right.
Yes, as is right. As is the correct thing to do.
Yes.
So
I say that while I stroke my mustache.
Well, if you look up the Butcher, that's a gentleman who might stroke his mustache.
Okay. Not to be confused with Abdullah the Butcher.
No.
Who I do believe actually is dead. So,
I believe so. So we have to turn the ticker down?
Dadgummit. Yeah. We have to set the counter back to 0 for me inadvertently bringing up a wrestler not realizing they have passed away.
Yep.
Oh, bummer. Okay. So, that was what I was marking out about. What else happened in the world of wrestling this week?
Well, I mean, basically, you could also mark out about the return of John Morrison to the ring, but that wasn't quite your era of wrestling when you were watching, but I'm sure there's a lot of people who are marking out about him returning on Friday.
Brief correction: Abdullah the Butcher is alive.
Oh, good.
Yeah, 79 years of age. Good to hear he's still going. So put the counter back on the board.
Yeah, we need to change the counter of people that we thought were dead.
Yes.
Down to 0.
Yes. Well, how many counters do I have?
Live wrestlers who we thought were dead.
I made this mistake before as well.
Yes.
So, okay, so
there's a couple counters out there.
All right, so forgive me. You were saying?
John Morrison had his first WWE in-ring competition.
Oh, cool. He came back with The Miz, right?
Yes, The Miz is kind of like in his corner, and they're fighting. Basically, they're in some sort of feud with Big E and Kofi Kingston, a.k.a. The New Day.
That's a good place to start, to be honest.
Not bad at all. So it was his first match on... it was his first victory in WWE in 8 years. So he's been gone for 8 full-on years, so good on him. Yeah.
I saw a gif of him, like, standing on the top turnbuckle. Kofi was harassing The Miz outside of the ring, and John Morrison was wanting to, like, jump off the turnbuckle and hit Big E, who was in the ring, but he was like, nah, I don't need to hit Kofi. Then he jumped off and hit Kofi, which was fun.
Yeah, so. I mean, he is a fun... That's a good way to describe John Morrison, is he is a very fun wrestler.
The world could always use more of that.
Mm-hmm. Especially when we have Daniel Bryan facing The Fiend. Kane came back, apparently, so he's kind of ramping up to an appearance in the Royal Rumble, it seems.
That doesn't surprise me, but I will say anytime I see Kane or The Undertaker standing in the ring with a microphone in their hand, I'm like, no. Don't want to hear him talk. I think these guys are not talkers.
There was a pop though when the Fiend Bray Wyatt actually came out from under the through the ring.
Oh yeah.
And Kane was just like, you know what? I'm a big badass demon, devil's favorite demon. And he stares him down. I'm not afraid of you. So it was a good bit, and people were popping for it, and it makes sense. This is like one of the few characters in WWE that shouldn't be cowed by the Fiend.
Yeah. I'm glad that. I mean, it would look unnatural to have Kane sitting there, mask and all, especially like nervous or afraid.
Yeah.
So. Okay, and then I heard after that, Daniel Bryan came out and they chased the Fiend under the ring and ripped out some of his hair.
Yeah. Yep. So the Daniel Bryan has finally gotten a little bit of a, a lead on Bray Wyatt.
Now they're gonna build Now they've got more than enough material to build a Fiend voodoo doll.
Yes. I was gonna make a joke about how Daniel Bryan was now a hair's breadth ahead of the Fiend.
But instead, I took the pedestrian route.
No. That was actually probably just as good. I'm not gonna lie. It wasn't gonna be a great joke, so I'm okay with you taking the steam out of it. It's fair.
Yes. This is great because if I make a mediocre joke and you say, "Well, I was going to say this," it kind of makes your joke sound better. I
was like, really? It was going to be great, guys. It was going to be the greatest joke in the world. Yeah. Tribute. So there was history made on Monday night, though.
Oh, somebody has held the title for X number of days?
No, but the first person ever to undeclare for the Royal Rumble happened.
This was R-Truth.
Yes, R-Truth came out and said he was declaring for the Royal Rumble and he was going to take care of business and he was going to throw Paul Heyman right over the top rope and win the championship.
So did he really think that Paul Heyman
that's his gimmick, yes.
Yeah, that he didn't know what the fuck's happening?
That he lives in some sort of other world and there's alternate reality that circles R-Truth at all times.
His understanding is sideways of everything.
Well, right? I think the last time he was in the Royal Rumble was the one where Roman Reigns had to defend the title in the Royal Rumble. So when his number got called and he ran out, I think last year he actually I think he was the one who got knocked out by Nia Jax. Mm-hmm. But when he actually was able to compete, he ran all the way out, ran down to the ring, went underneath the apron, grabbed a ladder, put the ladder in the center of the ring, climbed up the ladder to the top, was going to grab the title from the sky, and I was like, wait, what happened? Where is it?
thought he
my
was
bad.
a TLC or something,
My
right?
bad. Yeah, no, that it was a ladder match or something. That like the
Oh.
Royal Rumble, because the title was being defended at the Royal Rumble, it was going to be above everybody,
Of course.
and the last person to get it and not be thrown over the top rope was going to win or something like that. But
well,
that's
funny.
That's his gimmick, is to do something funny and totally misunderstand the situation and say a word that doesn't really exist. And then when he found out that it was Brock and not Paul Heyman, he said, "No, I undeclare. Thank you. Goodbye." Here, and like offered to like shake hands or smack the back. One of the he did some sort of tried to do some sort of pleasantry to Brock Lesnar.
I'm certain that he escaped that ring without getting F5'd.
Nope, murdered. F5.
Yep, of course.
Yep, and
you get in the ring and you point at Brock Lesnar, you're gonna get F5'd, even if you're saying, "Hey, your mother's outside." F5.
Yep. Then he gives you a tip.
Yes.
F5s you and then leaves you a $5 bill.
His tip is, "Don't point at me."
That's the F5. And F5 you and leave you with a $5 bill. So yeah, and then Brock didn't really care about trying to win the 24/7 title, so he just left. And Mojo Rawley pinned R-Truth to become the new 24/7 champion.
Oh, good for Mojo Rawley. He can take it in the back and talk to it.
It's actually, very. I don't know what his gimmick is anymore. It's not looking in a mirror gimmick anymore. So we're gonna find out what's happening. He tweeted afterwards, like, "I'm gonna be a fighting champion. I'm not gonna run from people. If you want it, come and get it."
Okay.
Which is kind of a new tactic for the 24/7 championship.
Might as well. I mean, the Scooby-Doo bit will get old eventually.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, a story for a fighting 24/7 champion could be interesting. We can see how that goes.
I can't wait until they're squaring off in the parking lot at Applebee's.
Well, let me tell you about a brand new story that WWE is doing. Bobby Lashley defeated Rusev.
Okay, great. Was that it?
That's it. It's still the same old shit.
Okay. I was going to say, where's the new part?
Nope. Nope. Same old shit, different day.
Yeah, get these motherfuckers away from each other and go do something else, please. Let Rusev go. Let Bobby Lashley and Lana go off and live happily ever after, and put
Liv Morgan unhappily ever after, which I think is the better story. That's the story that they're kind of starting to tell right now. Because Bobby Lashley defeated Rusev, and then Lana had some issues with Liv Morgan, and Lana was like, "Well, guess what? Next week or at Royal Rumble or whenever, we're gonna have a mixed tag match." And it's gonna be me and Lashley versus you and Rusev. And Lashley's like, "Wait, I just fucking beat this guy. I don't want to have to fight. I don't have to fight him again. What are you doing to me, woman?"
I do believe that Lana just wants to beat up Liv Morgan, or rather, be put in a situation where Lashley can defeat. Why am I talking about this? This is stupid.
No, we're done.
I was sitting here like, oh, so wait, this all makes sense.
Critical deconstruction of this. No, I don't care. Somebody pin somebody at the end of this, and everybody go off with their life. That's fine. I'm done here.
Just make it in. Take Liv Morgan, stick her back with Sarah Logan. Ruby Riott will come back one day.
No, it's too late. Sarah Logan got beat by Charlotte, so she's dead.
Now she's like,
rest in peace.
Subterranean.
Rest in peace, tattoo face Sarah Logan.
I mean, I like what she was going for, but I also think it was kind of like, I don't know, it was like asymmetrical. And really, well, no, it wasn't asymmetrical. It was just in the wrong place.
Right.
It's like whenever you're making a character in, a wrestling game, and then you're
dragging it, like trying to drag it down the face,
and then you put it in the wrong place on the face, and it gets stuck there forever.
Each directional button press is like one too far or one too high, and you're just like, God damn it, just give it to me. Just let me have this.
Yeah, that is what Sarah Logan's new face paint kind of looked like for me. If she'd put that over her eyes, I'd have been cool with it, like a Furiosa look or something.
Well, but that's not how the Viking paint is supposed to look, though.
I don't care about authenticity.
You don't care about authenticity or aesthetics that are not American.
Oh no, don't accuse me of aesthetic xenophobia, my friend.
You probably hated the things that the Viking Raiders were wearing and the things that the Singh brothers were wearing when they had a Raw Tag Team Championship match or some sort of open challenge match.
I wonder who won that.
Well, the Singh brothers won the dance-off portion of it. But
we haven't had a dance-off in a while.
Well, the Viking Raiders actually weren't participating in the dance-off and just murdered them during the course of it. It was basically just the Singh brothers dancing and having a big showing off, and then Viking Raiders was like, no.
Are they going to go back to calling themselves the Bollywood Brothers?
The Bollywood Boys. That would be cool. I'd be on top of that, but no. I think they're the Singh brothers forever now.
And there's musical numbers and dancing in a lot of Bollywood shows, so it makes sense.
That was their gimmick. The musical, dancing, Bollywood. That was their gimmick. And then they became the Stooges for Jinder Mahal's championship run. And they've slowly been bringing that back. Yeah, it was fine at the time. But slowly been bringing it back. Asuka spit green goop into Becky Lynch's face.
Did she do that last week?
Yeah, she keeps doing it. It was during the contract signing for the championship match, and the Kabuki Warriors have been wonderfully eclectic since their championship win.
Yeah, I heard people praising Kairi Sane for walking around and being like a needling little asshole.
Yep.
While Becky was trying to
like poking her with an umbrella, and it was just like poke, 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 poke.
I think probably my favorite bit of the Kabuki Warriors being like heels is the Iconics were wandering around backstage. It was one of their birthdays. I don't remember which one. And they were asking various superstars. They were like, hey, do you know what today is? It's her birthday, right? And so at some point they say this to the Kabuki Warriors, and in Japanese, one of them yells at her, "We don't care!" I was like, wow, what assholes. They didn't care about her birthday.
Yeah, seriously. F you, birthday. I think the biggest thing that happened out of Raw was that Aleister Black beat Buddy Murphy again.
I mean, people have been enjoying that because they're good matches, though,
yeah,
right?
But Buddy Murphy just kind of he kind of collapsed on the barricade, and just, he's like, where do I, kind of like one of those where do I go from here things. I can't beat this guy, and I just can't do it. So he was just kind of catatonic. So catatonic, in fact, that 2 entire matches happened while he was sitting there back against the barricade.
That's actually kind of fun.
Yeah. Eric Rowan defeated a local competitor. In fact, he tried to get the whatever is in the cage out to show the competitor, but it bit him. And he started gushing some blood or something like that. So he did his claw finisher with blood coming out of the fingers.
Ew.
Yeah. That viscous fluid.
Okay.
And the final match was a fist fight between Seth Rollins and AOP.
What is a fist fight?
I don't really know what the point of the gimmick was. Really, the long and the short of it, I don't know. Is somebody's got to punch somebody. I don't know what it is. It's probably just like a street fight.
Okay.
But just a different name for it. Anyway, Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe, and The Big Show were going to fight Seth Rollins and AOP. And Seth Rollins and AOP were kind of needing some help. And Seth Rollins noticed that Buddy Murphy was just kind of chilling. And was like, dude, come and help us. Come on, help us. And, Buddy Murphy was still kind of catatonic. But eventually Buddy Murphy swooped in, hit The Big Show with a low blow, and that allowed Seth and AOP to win. And it now looks like maybe Buddy Murphy's part of this stable as well.
That's kind of a good way of getting somebody who's clearly exhausted all of his options in another feud and putting him somewhere else.
It's actually damn fine storytelling.
Yeah.
Yeah, WWE has actually done a pretty reasonable job, non-cuckolding angles aside, of telling stories recently. So I've kind of been a little more enthused by this. And this, a group that's Seth Rollins, Buddy Murphy, and AOP all of a sudden looks like a top-level stable to me.
Yeah. That's quite the turnaround for Buddy Murphy, but especially AOP, who had a manager pissing themselves not 6 months ago.
Right.
So,
yeah.
Okay. By the way, I think The Big Show was there for that, too.
Yeah, I told you The Big Show was getting... He is with... Kevin Owens.
What I mean is he was there for the peeing the pants part.
Maybe, I guess, yeah.
Okay,
sure.
Yeah, it was ages ago. Whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't care. Just as we said at the time, the only thing that was important out of that was him peeing his pants. No other part of that match was important, mattered, or would be remembered.
And here we are, not remembering anything else.
Yep. So that's why you don't make creative choices like that.
Good thing Paul Heyman's at the helm. I made an alliteration.
Yes.
All right.
So I'll touch quickly on NXT because Bianca Belair won the Battle Royale. So she will face whoever's the current champion at NXT TakeOver Portland on Saturday, January 25th.
I was wondering why there wasn't an NXT for the Royal Rumble, but they're just going to stick NXT people in the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
So that got me super stoked.
Yep.
I can't wait.
Yeah. So that should be fun. And Tyler Breeze is actually in the number one contender match for the Cruiserweight Championship. He of course lost. Isaiah Swerve Scott is going to be the next person going after the Cruiserweight Champion.
Isaiah, did you say that again?
Isaiah Swerve Scott.
His name is Swerve.
Yeah, his quotes. In quotes, that's a nickname.
Well, yeah, I know. It's like fucking Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Correct. That's the same exact idea.
Actually, Brutus Beefcake is goddamn nickname itself. I don't care who you're talking to.
Brother Brutai. Anyway, yeah. I'm sorry. Worlds Collide is the thing that's going on Saturday.
Wait. I found a better example. Jake the Snake Roberts.
Yes, Jacob the Snake. Yep.
Yeah, because Jake Roberts is not a literal comic book name.
Right.
So even though Jake's real name is like Aurelian Smith or something like that. So
as opposed to Leo Rush, which is a made up name.
Well, Leo Rush is a made up name.
I'm pretty sure his last name isn't Rush, but I could be wrong. It's definitely one that seems like it could be made up.
Maybe it's like Leo Rushing.
What wasn't made up was the grizzled young veteran's disdain of the Full Sail crowd after they won their match against Kushida and Alex Shelley.
What are you reading that off of? Or did you just come up with that?
I just came up with that.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
You tell it. This is why I am in charge. This is why we have a podcast that has run for almost 2 years.
What wasn't made up was the disdain, the grizzled young veteran. Jesus, dude. Okay, so.
All right, cool. So now that that's been shat upon, the grizzled young veterans had they had a really good rib at the NXT universe, as it were. Saying that they weren't going to shake hands, they weren't going to, please these people, these hipsters who pretend to know who your tag team partners is, and pretend to cheer for them. So they did total good heel work, and they're moving on in the Dusty Classic. The tag team that you might like, the Broserweights, which is the Broserweights. Can you guess who the Broserweights are? I can wait.
A second. I'm sorry. Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne.
You are correct. The Broserweights. Yes, they ended up winning. There's always one team like that in the Dusty Classic where it's just kind of like two people mashed together, but they're like two top stars. And they generally make it towards the end. So we'll see how that's going.
Okay.
There might be a clash between Undisputed Era and Imperium as worlds collide at Royal Rumble. But for now it is what it is. So that's NXT. As we talked a little bit about AEW, I think we hit most of the major points from AEW.
John Moxley coming out with an eye patch.
Yeah, he was in a match against Sammy Guevara.
Is it Guevara or Guevara?
Guevara.
Because I've got a friend whose last name is Guevara, and they get real mad when you mispronounce it.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said it the way I did.
Okay. Well, I mean, woe be it unto me to mispronounce a name, but
right. I really don't know, and the reason why Moxley was out because Pac/Pac, another name that everybody says wrong, was in a match earlier or messed up. He was the one who tried to spike Dean Ambrose, John Moxley's face So I guess that's where they're kind of pushing Pac versus Moxley.
Pac and Mox.
Pac and Mox. Pac.
Oh, yeah.
Or Pac is really actually.
Pac and Max.
Pac and Mox.
No, it's got to be Pac and Mox. Otherwise, it doesn't work.
Nope, the bastard Pac. He actually was in action against Darby Allin, which actually sounded like it was a really fun match. But yeah, that was about it. I think there was some women's action. Cody, the American Nightmare, basically went through he basically broke as much kayfabe as he could without saying his last name. No, what I mean is, like, here is like a quote. He called MJF an old school heel, and that he was lazy, and like he was just like a little bit too much of the business was in his. But it was very passionate, so most people just kind of give him the slide on that. And
one of your pet peeves is when we become too meta-businessy, right?
There's too much of the business. Like, Cody is a character still. He's the look at me, I know about the business, and I'm talking to you about the business character. Like, that's still a character. He's not just like he's not like some internet nerd who's talking about the business to you like you understand. No, he's still a character doing that. Stop eating it up, you assholes. Anyway.
Okay.
We got number one contenders for the tag team titles as well.
For the A-dubs?
AEW tag team champions. Yeah, Hangman Page and Kenny Omega defeated Santana and Ortiz, the Best Friends, and the Young Bucks for number one contendership, even though Page and Omega actually were not on the same page. But during the match. So it's interesting that's the team that's moving forward. So we'll see how that plays out.
Maybe they're sticking those two into the tag team division to get some tag team gumption going. Because we know from Internet Scuttlebutt that the AEW was interested in beefing up their tag team.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they're one tag team. Yeah,
they're tag teams. I added the plural. Goddammit!
Or this is like one of the oldest tricks in the book where they people tag team together and then they go after the championships and then they fail and they blow up and then they're in a singles feud against each other.
Now they're enemies and
Yeah, that's probably where it's going to end up. But we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see exactly where it goes.
Whoever loses, we win.
Yes, that's AEW versus WWE, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of WWE, SmackDown happened on Friday.
I already did SmackDown. We started with SmackDown.
Oh, yeah, we did. We forgot to note, however, that Otis caught Mandy.
Oh, yes, that storyline. So let's make that a big meaty topic in honor of Otis.
I was gonna bitch about it actually.
Yeah, let's go about it. Let's cut through the chatter and cut this cake in half and see what's going on in it.
So I get it. There were cakes.
Yes.
All right, you've short circuited me. What?
I just showed you a picture of Otis, and you're like, bloop.
I don't have a problem with Otis. Strictly speaking, most of the time, generally. Almost always, I don't have a problem with Otis.
Except for this time.
Well, no, and this is going to sound like a nitpick, but Mandy Rose at some point got hurled out of the ring and Otis caught her, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then Otis had to do that stupid thing with his tongue, and I was like, oh no, oh gosh. I took a pinch of snuff and put down my opera glasses, and I left at that moment. I was like, no, how lowbrow.
It's a little much, but yeah, no, he's Otis has been very id,
Very in?
Id.
Oh, like the id, the ego, and the superego?
Yes.
We got to use our college degrees at some point, everybody.
Damn Skippy. But he, and actually, this is an interesting story. It's got another layer to it now. Because it was a Sonya Deville match against Alexa Bliss.
Mm-hmm.
Where last week it was Mandy Rose versus Alexa Bliss, and Mandy Rose was able to win off of the distraction. Sonya brought Heavy Machinery down to be the luck charm this time in her match. But instead, when he caught Mandy Rose like that and did the little tongue thing, Sonya was like paying attention to that and not to Lexi Bliss, and she got rolled up and lost. So there's a little dysfunction there between Fire and Desire, and Otis looking like a sad sack Sally because he caused the loss, feeling really bad.
Was he sitting there like all droopy faced? Like,
yeah, it is very, very,
I'm dumb and I can't help sticking my tongue out.
Maybe not quite that far, but in a general vicinity of that, yes. So I don't know. Maybe there was like mild, very, very small hints of like a very tight friendship that might have feelings towards a little bit more. Some
fissures are forming.
So, but that
some emotions are being laid bare that were beneath the surface.
So, yes, this might be the kind of thing, because they had that angle kind of simmering with Fire and Desire for a little bit. They never went like full on. They never like addressed it. There was just a couple of backstage segments where like the two tag team members were probably a little more touchy than we're used to our tag team members being. And that sort of thing, just like, is there, isn't there kind of idea. And maybe this whole Lana Liv angle has kind of jump-started a different angle here. A different love triangle, if you were. And maybe this one would be, I don't know, who knows, maybe more tasteful. We'll find out, because...
Maybe more tasteful, hopefully.
Yes.
Because it doesn't seem like there's been any, like, cuckolding or cheating or like, I slept with your husband.
Interesting, yes. I mean, interesting enough, this could be kind of a triangle that isn't, romantic kind of love. But
it's like a professional interference or that kind of thing.
But more like somebody taking time away from a best friendship. An outsider taking time away from a best friendship is still like a triangle kind of thing.
It is.
And it'll be interesting to see whether that's kind of how it works and how it goes forward. Whether this is the breakup of Fire and Desire, or whether there becomes one big Heavy Machinery Fire and Desire family going forward. We'll see.
They could call it Heavy Fire and Desire Machinery, or Fire Machinery Desire Heavy, or Heavy Fire. No, I give up. I wonder how what's his name is feeling about all of this.
Tucker?
Yes.
The fourth wheel?
Uh-huh. I was like, wait a minute, what about that other asshole? I thought his name was something like Tucky. Oh,
yes,
I guess
it is. It's Tuck.
Okay.
Tucker, Tucky. He
used
to have a last name.
Is his name like Tucky Tuckerson or some shit like that?
No, he used to have a real last name, but they got rid of the last names as per WWE policy. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I'm waiting for Sonya Deville just to become Deville.
Or Sonya.
They need to get sued for that. Yeah. Or so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Anyway, so that's something that's percolating.
Our best aggression of the night. Yeah.
Percolating. And the other thing that happened in SmackDown was that Roman Reigns beat Robert Roode in a tables match, so that he could get a Falls Count Anywhere match against King Corbin at Royal Rumble.
Oh, cool. Hopefully they fight all the way up into the nosebleed seats, and you'll be able to see me on TV.
There you go. They're gonna fall right. Roman Reigns is gonna fall right in your lap and ask for help, and you're gonna DDT King Corbin.
Oh no, I'm gonna Superman punch him, and I'm gonna send that one out to our connection, Joe. Say, Joe, this one's
Superman
for you.
Punch. I just imagined it was your dog, and I let loose.
Yes. Which didn't his dog die? Rest in peace.
Yes, he rest in peace, Teddy. They I believe they do have a new pupper there.
Okay, that's good. We can Superman punch that one.
Yes.
The joke, in case you're tuning in for the first time, was that Joe didn't like Roman Reigns It seemed unreasonable, so the joke we made was like, "What did he do? Superman punch your dog?" And
Yes.
that
And
is the
it's
running
I just
joke.
don't like
ladies
him.
and
I just
gentlemen.
don't like him. Man, he just Superman punched your dog. We get it. It's clearly if a Superman punched my dog, I'd be pissed at him too.
Yeah, no.
So that's
Um,
the Royal Rumble card shaping up.
I will say this before we
Mhm.
leave the
Yeah,
Otis and Andy thing completely.
Okay.
Is I bet you $100 that Otis is gonna come thundering out during the Women's Royal Rumble, and like catch Mandy and put her back in the ring or something like
Oh,
that.
that would be a fun. That would be kind of a
Yeah.
fun gimmick. I'd be okay with that.
hmm
That'd be a decent
I'm
booking.
not griping. I'm just trying to predict.
No. That's a decent booking. I'm on board. 5 points.
And then Sonya's gonna come flying out, and Otis isn't gonna catch her.
Mhm.
And
Well, yeah. If they're gonna do the tried and true trials and tribulations storyline, then yeah. But maybe
It'd be nice
Tucker
if-
catches her, and it's just like, whoa.
it'd be nice if Mandy and Sonya were knocked over at the same time,
Mhm.
and Otis could only catch one of them.
He had the hero's dilemma, the hero's
Yeah.
choice.
If he catches both of them, though, I'll eat my hat. So. I believe that's something he could do.
Yes, he probably could, just like one on each shoulder.
Yeah, just go blah.
And then he, which would be funny because he'd probably like take him around the ring for a loop. And Mandy Rose, from her reaction, would probably be like, "This is fun," and Sonya Deville would probably be like, "What the fuck are you doing? Just get me back in the match."
That's funny.
But,
Okay.
Yeah, so the both women's matches are in fact set in stone. We had the signing for the Raw Women's Championship, Becky Lynch versus Asuka, and Bayley will be taking on Lacey Evans in the SmackDown Women's Championship match. So that'll be happening. It seems like there's a stipulation of a strap match for the Universal Championship.
So you're gonna have to tell me what a strap match is.
So both wrestlers are connected by a leather strap around the wrists.
Okay, so you're gonna tie Daniel Bryan to the Fiend.
Correct.
Okay.
So the Fiend can't get away, or I don't know. It's gonna be a red leather strap. It's probably going to be like made out of the braids that he pulled from the Fiend's hair or something like that. Something gimmicky like that.
And since I will be there, I'll be able to tell you firsthand
whether or
if I
not you can
see
actually
a
see
goddamn thing. Yeah,
match.
if everything is red.
Yeah, well, we'll find out. I'm not sure what the strap does for the match. I'm not really excited about it.
It just needed a gimmick.
Yeah, but like,
Well,
there's
because
probably different gimmicks that you could come up with. That they
we
could have a Hell in a Cell match, right?
We've had Daniel Bryan versus Bray Wyatt or the Fiend before. I can't remember which one it was.
Right,
So,
no, against the Fiend, but that was hair Daniel Bryan, not American Dragon Daniel Bryan.
Okay.
So they could have had a dragon match, like a
Where
Dragon Dojo match. I don't know. It could have been something that was not a strap match. I'm just not really excited about a strap match. That's what I'm going to tell you right now.
Hey, well, you know what? They should have made it a blindfold match.
And this is like half of this is almost an Extreme Rules pay-per-view. Because we got a strap match, we've got a Falls Count Anywhere match, we've got 2 gimmick matches in the men's and women's Royal Rumbles.
You're right. I don't know.
And Becky Lynch is probably going to take a face full of green mist at some point during the championship match.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't consider that a gimmick match, but okay.
Green mist, first person to spit green mist, the other person wins.
They're just running around with their cheeks puffed out.
That would be hilarious if like Becky fucking Lynch, like Asuka turned, wheeled to like spit green mist, and Becky just spat it in her face first, spat it in Asuka's face first. Take that.
How do you like them apples?
That's a receipt from the man right now.
Yes.
And
then she stunners her and crotch chops and does donuts in a 4-wheeler. Great.
Yes, perfect.
Book it.
Book it. Done. I'll tell you one fantastic match that no one will take their eyes off of, and that's Shorty G versus Sheamus.
Oh, that's gonna be on the pre-show.
Probably, yeah.
It's the battle of the S names, Shorty G versus Sheamus. Sheamus is just going to stomp all over Shorty G.
Yeah, like 6'11", 300-pound Sheamus versus Shorty G, who's going to do that like roll through suplex on Sheamus, and it's gonna look flippin' awesome. But Sheamus will probably still win.
Yeah, then Sheamus will get up and bro kick him
right in the face.
Yeah, and I always pronounce that wrong. It's not bro, it's like bro.
Brogue.
Brogue. Yeah.
Your Irish
If
brogue.
if you call it a bro kick, Matt Riddle appears and says,
Yes.
"Bro."
Yes. No, and I think he's got a bro kick. I know he's got the bro Derek.
It'd be funny if Sheamus and Matt Riddle both hit each other with a brogue kick and a bro kick at the same time, and then the universe collapses. So.
And for your enjoyment, because Matt's having all the fun right now, we will take a look at the hot take. So this segment is where we talk about whatever we want, something that has to do with the WWE. John Cena movies is generally something that's going through, and we got Doolittle coming up, so go out and watch Doolittle, where John Cena's an animal talking or something. Who knows? Or there's like a snow came out and you made an Otis snowman this winter, or whatever. We talk about whatever, and the way we kick this off or interrupt each other is by yelling out
hot take. So I have the first hot take, and I just wanted to point out that a legend is going to be having their last match in February 28th, according to a post on Reddit of an Instagram thing. This legend, of course, as I'm sure you all know, will be Gillberg. You remember Gillberg? Gillberg. He was created in the WWE to make fun of Goldberg, who was at WCW at the time. People liked it. It was funny.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Gillberg's going to have his last match somewhere against James Ellsworth, which I guess is a fitting way to go out if you're Gillberg.
Hot take. Yep, Battle of the Memes to close out the careers. I wanted to talk about something that was also funny that I saw on the WWE.com, but you can find it on YouTube on Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud network, LOL network, and it is Cold as Balls, featuring the Bella Twins. Apparently, the gimmick of this talk show hosted by Kevin Hart is that he and a guest hang out in cold tubs, ice tubs, and chat about things. This is the first time he's ever had two guests on, so some hilarity ensues as he tries to figure out the logistics of putting three people in two tubs. And it is pretty cool though. If you haven't heard the Bella story, they do kind of recount everything from their auspicious beginnings that may or may not have started in a Hooters, all the way to the final Bella match at Evolution with Nikki versus Ronda Rousey. So it's worth a watch. It's very funny. If you've ever seen Kevin Hart, you know that he's very funny, and you probably like his stuff. And this is just a bunch more good Kevin Hart stuff. And the Bellas are no slouches either. They actually are relatively charismatic, and it's hard to get this far in the company without being that charismatic. But they're very fun. So I would suggest that as one of your next watches here.
Okay. And I have the last part of the show, generally speaking. This is called the finishing move. Now, the finishing move is something I come up with during the show on the fly, based upon what we talked about. Now, sometimes they're tag team finishers, sometimes they're singles finishers. And Jesse, you're never gonna guess what I almost ran with.
What did you almost run with?
The Doolittle.
Yes.
Yes, the Doolittle.
And that's that to me would be the finger poke of doom.
Yes, yeah. You would go up to them, stomp on their foot, and then poke them, and they'd fall over.
Yep.
And you'd win.
You have to do as little as possible to win the match.
The Doolittle. But no, instead I came up with something called unscripted. It's just a modified sling blade with theatrics.
Mm-hmm.
Because Jesse was so good at coming up with stuff off the script.
So Matt was trying to come up with stuff off the script and came up with just a modified sling blade with theatrics.
Well, actually, I didn't even know what the fuck the Doolittle was going to be. I was just like, the Doolittle. Oh, finger poke of doom. Yes, of course.
Yes, perfect. Yes. See, we know who's making all the money on this show.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the BMOC, the GOAT, if you will. You
I have
know,
no problem being the manager with the bullhorn.
the GOAT like Chris Jericho or um, Ken Jennings.
That's the Jeopardy guy.
Yeah, he actually won Greatest of All Times. There was a Jeopardy series that ended this. Well, I guess technically, somebody won it last week.
Mm-hmm.
Where it was Ken Jennings, Mark Rutter. I can't remember his first name, and then the most recent guy, Holzhauer or something like that. I can't remember his name either. But it was like a head-to-head format, and the first person to 3 Jeopardy victories won, and Jennings won 3-1-0.
Yep. Well, there you go.
So
I hope you got a nice Jeopardy title belt.
I really hope so. They sent one out to the Grey Cup winners, which is Canadian football. So they got one.
We all know that Jeopardy is at least as important as Canadian football.
Clearly,
right?
Jeopardy is at least as important. So he got a greatest of all time trophy. I didn't check on Twitter to see if he got a shout out from Chris Jericho, who considers himself the greatest of all time. But
at everything.
So we'll see. But yeah, that's where we are. Going to close it up here. There were actually a few people who passed away this last week. And chief among them were Rocky Johnson, the father of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson,
known as like Soul Man Rocky Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Trailblazer
for its time, yeah.
Oh yes, one of the first, African American, highly pushed wrestlers. Won tag team championships with Tony Atlas, and they were the first black champions in WWE history.
Yeah, sad to hear.
Yeah, it's very sad to hear. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson had some touching things to say, and quite a few other people also who had known him or had worked with him before put out some good things. And then also La Parka. Now, not the La Parka that you may have seen on WCW or played on one of the N64 WCW games. This was the one that spent basically his entire career wrestling in AAA, which is the main Mexican wrestling fed, as it were. And it was a long and storied career, running from the mid-90s until 2019, and it was also a very sad thing to hear because he did die due to complications from an injury he sustained from a match.
Yep. So, our condolences to all them guys.
Mm-hmm. There was a few others that I had seen that may not have been as much of a household name. I will suggest that you take a quick look or head to Wrestling with Regret, who had a quick in memoriam for all those gentlemen over one of his latest videos. So with that,
kind of like what they do at the Academy Awards, like these are the guys that died in the last year or something.
Yes, yeah, it wasn't the last year. It wasn't like a full 2019 in retrospect, but it was there was a handful of people who passed away in the last week. So we had birth, the day, their lineage and their and pictures of them in their wrestling gimmicks. So of course both Rocky Johnson and La Parka have very 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 easy to remember, very what's the word I'm looking for?
Memorable
is good enough. Yeah, memorable looks.
Oh yeah.
So with that in mind, we're going to go ahead and close up our show. Looking forward to 2020 as we go forward. You can listen to anything from 2019 or before as well as all of our new stuff by going to markandsmark.podbean.com, Spotify, iTunes, Google Play Music, YouTube, Facebook.com/markandsmark, at markandsmark on Twitter and Instagram, and also on the Daily Smark website, clearinghouse for all sorts of podcasts. So for Matt Cooper, I'm Jesse Disbro. Have a great one, and we'll catch you next time.